Yeah. Well, I would have a forest full of trees if I turned a new leaf every time I broke a promise that I thought I would keep. And I'ma harbor that in secret. It's hard to hear your feedback. I'm playing like the Phantom of the Opera on a keypad. Hopping off the deep end happily, ain't no wisdom in my teeth left. Just cavities. I've been trying to keep my feet wet. Walking over water, about to run a little farther. Doing a Our Father, but you probably atheist. I'm still speeding like Dennis Hopper. There's a bomb up on this bus, so where the fuck's Keanu Reeves at? You best to relax. I'm staying on my grind, feeling Amy off this wine like I ain't going back to rehab. Feeling like a bipolar reject. I'm even high when I'm sober, and my mind's a solar eclipse. A born-again fetus who should have been aborted. Hopped about my mommy's chest like, what's up, I'm important. That was morbid, dog. And kinda sorta wrong, but nothing's off limits. I've been ripping down walls like Gorbachev. I do it for my dogs and do it for the cause, yeah. You do it for the blogs and do it for applause, yeah. You do it for the wrong reason, so I have to judge. The beat up on your song is decent, but your rapping sucks. That's why I can't endorse it. But still you're in the stores and people flock with open wallets to cop your garbage recordings. But I keep my hands in my pocket. That's ironic, like Alanis Morissette. I hate this game, but I can't just forfeit. Don't want the fame, but I'll take the fortune. The moolah, they say what you give to it, you end up attracting to ya. That's why I put my 2 cents in and got some change back. Guess it all makes sense in my brain, man. My bedroom feels too small for me, but the outside world's like doomsday, honey. I'll go Usain once you say run it. Lot of fish in the say, but 2 ain't nothing. My bedroom feels too small for me, but the outside world's like doomsday, honey. I'll go Usain once you say run it. Lot of fish in the say, but 2 ain't nothing. There's a rip tide coming, hold on. I think the sky's falling on us. There's a rip tide coming, hold on. I think the sky's falling on us, yeah. Falling on us, yeah. Falling, yeah. There's a rip tide coming, hold on. I think the sky.
What's going on? What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live stream. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. I'm going to jump right into it this morning. Make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an idiot here on YouTube. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing here that you see or hear from me is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Do your own research and read the full disclaimer. Also read CFTC Rule 4.41 and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, I'm going to jump right into it because I think we might be getting close to a setup here on my good friend Dow. I am on TopstepX. I got a couple 50K funded accounts daisy chained together. I'm going to show you guys the really stupidly simple mean reversion play that I like to take on Dow. This has been working out really, really nicely. It works out really nicely in back testing. I actually took a long in one of my separate accounts. Another one of these bad boys back up to VWAP. Really, as we started to consolidate here, long, straight back to VWAP. Played very, very nicely. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and mark some highs and lows off of the 5-minute chart. All I have on this chart is VWAP. It's just 3 volume tools. A volume down on the bottom, visible range volume profile, and the standard VWAP. We're kind of coming right back down to it. So the thought process here is that if we come up or down and test one of these ranges, one of these areas of interest, these support or resistance levels, we may bounce, pull something like that. May chop before we make a decision here. And that's what I'm looking to capitalize on. So I'm going to wait to see how we open up. Was looking at maybe this zone being tested, opening up around here, but here we go, 15 seconds to NYSE Open, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Structure your risk, trade well, friends. Remember, not financial advice, not any type of advice or suggestion to do anything. We'll come to MNQ after this, give you my general thoughts on the market after that big push up yesterday, but I'm going to look to take an aggressive trade off of one of these zones. If we hit them, straight back down to VWAP. Yeah, I could probably go just measuring out kind of what we'd be looking at. VWAP's going to be about 100 points from the middle of that zone, 70 or 80 points from the middle of that zone. A 1-to-1, if we came down and swept below here or above here, it's kind of what I'm looking at. On the 5-minute chart, just a quick crack down. Go ahead and back test this stuff yourself. Sometimes you get ran through, right? We start to sell off and just right off the open, we're just going to rip to the downside. But more often than not here on Dow, on micro YM that I'm trading, making sure I'm on the right chart, we get a nice reversion to VWAP. And if there's a way to structure risk in at least a 1-to-1 way that makes sense based on the structure and volatility, I'm going to look to try to take that. That's going to be my first trade. NQ sized up that last trade right before I hopped off, and that was the absolute banger. I made some Instagram and Twitter posts about it, but obviously did not capitalize on that move to the upside, although I was eyeballing it after my small loss on the short. But yeah, NQs and these indices can be great for directional moves, but man, you got to survive the chop in the morning first. Got to survive a lot of the back and forth in the morning first. So, good morning. What's happening? Jumping right into it this morning. Looking at a potential setup on Dow. Here's kind of what I'm looking at. Again, really simply, we come down to test this zone, maybe even sweep below this low. Looking for a quick crack back up to VWAP. Same thing on this side. Push to the upside. Maybe a sweep above this level I'd be okay with. Crack back down towards VWAP. Very, very simple. Very simple first setup on Dow. I like it to be with the direction of the overall trend, right? Kind of what we've been seeing. So a buy would be more favorable for me. But it really doesn't matter too much to me. It's a pretty simple, straightforward play. Very, very simple stuff. Again, then we'll hop over to NQ. We'll take a look at what we had go on yesterday. A little bit of movement, not really choppy, but just kind of back and forth, and then we finally made a decision to go on a run to the upside. But I appreciate you guys hopping on. Make sure I mute that. Cool. Let's see what we get today, man. Big push up yesterday. Again, I'm going to stay zoomed in looking at this chart right here, right now on Dow, because I like this kind of back and forth choppiness that we had around VWAP. It does support the narrative that maybe we don't just break and run, but we'll see. Opened up right above and came right back down to VWAP. It's not something I like to sell right into. If we have this level over here, I'd really need a stop loss above this level. But it's a very simple play. A Dow back to volume point of control, VWAP, the middle ground. Very, very simply. But let's see what we get off the open here. Try to get some trading in with you guys. Appreciate you hopping on. Good morning. On this fine Thursday, February 6th. See what the markets have for us. Went on an absolute tear yesterday, man. Nice push up to the upside after that movement in the morning. And just kind of building off that thought. I'm going to try to stay really, really patient in the morning session on stuff like NQ if I'm going to look to capitalize on a larger movement, just to try not to get chopped up a little bit in the morning. Try to hang on for whatever BS it's going to do, and then structure a trade into the afternoon. So, why is this thing like twitching back and forth so much? Again, going to look for a buy off of and around this area of interest, this low. Be okay with a sweep below. Going to look for a sell off of this area back towards VWAP. That's my initial game plan today. Stupidly simple. see what these markets have for us today. Let's see, starting to get a push down. Again, I'm going to look to market in on a nice buy. Probably run like a near a 1-to-1, probably a 70 to 80 point stop loss. Allow it to just come lower, below that zone by a little bit, but not knife down so much and look to take me out of the trade. But we may just chop around here. The longer that happens, the less that I'm going to want to take this. For example, if we just, kind of hang out back and forth, we start to form some structure, kind of come back down. I'm not really capitalizing on that opening volatility, right? Like we have right now. Part of this is it's a specific time of day, right? I don't mind it in pre-market like I took this morning. But mainly right here at NYSE Open, we see a lot of volatility come in, back and forth movement, and I'm really just looking to capitalize on that from the extremes. Simple, 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 simple. The simpler I make my stuff, the better I seem to do. Going to check out NASDAQ on a separate screen just so I don't potentially miss this. Here we go. We're going to try it. Let's see. I'd go for somewhere down in the middle of that zone for a quick market buy in. I don't like to use a limit just in case we absolutely knife. Maybe I get a second chance to not hit the buy button rather than limit in. Let's see. Let's see if we can push down a little bit further. The other piece, the other disqualifier of this is kind of, if I miss the first test, right? If we get close to these lows, which we kind of did right there, and then we bounce right back to VWAP, I don't want to take, the retest of VWAP and then the continuation for another buy. So I'd like to see this continue right here, right now, come down and test this zone, get pretty close to these lows, and then look for a buy and quick move back towards VWAP. We're actually with higher time frame structure on this one, so I don't mind it. No, we're going to run it back up to VWAP there. Yep. Let's see. 50 points. Oh, I want to do that. OBS alerts. Let's see. Let's see what we get out of Dow here. Again, looking for a buy off of the low end of this level of structure, this overnight low put in right down here. Come down, get close to that low and or sweep it. I'm gonna look for a buy right back up to VWAP. Probably have to wait for a sweep below. Now that we kind of pulled back and are gonna come back down, this may get a little bit dicey. The risk on these types of trades is I get pretty aggressive with the entry, right? I'm really not waiting for confirmation, a bunch of candles to form, low time frame movement. I'm really entering at the area that I want to enter, and you run the risk of your stop just getting knifed through. You run the risk of getting just absolutely ran through. Usually it doesn't stop on a dime right where you enter, right? You're gonna leave a little bit of a breathing room for the trade, but these aggressive type entries you can get ran through pretty quickly, which is okay. They usually do work out quickly. Either fail or work out quickly. Looking at ES. ES opened up above VWAP. Looked like the strongest out of all three of these. NQ opened below, is retesting, and kind of just chopping right around VWAP. And we can see what Dow is doing on my chart right here, right now. See if we get the morning setup. And let's talk about what news we have this morning. Got through 8:30 and looks like we got not much until 2:30 p.m. Yeah, not a whole lot today. Double check that. In Q cracking to the upside. Dow, yeah, I don't know that we're gonna get this test. This looks like we might just start to form the movement up right here, right now. Not the trade setup that I need, right? First test of the extremes of whatever range is really put in overnight. A little bit of discretion there. If we had another low down here, I'd probably be waiting for that to be tested. Maybe if it was from yesterday, not part of the overnight session. But that's the basics of this. That we're gonna get some chop right off the open, some volatility. Play it from the extremes back towards VWAP. But we got ES and NQ taking off to the upside right now, and I think Dow is likely to follow. Would have been pretty sweet if we were down here and we saw that happening. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if we get down around here. Looking at, let's go into Forex Factory. Yeah, 8:30 a.m. we had unemployment claims. We don't have too much. 10:30 a.m. Eastern, this is just financial news events. We have natural gas storage. That's a report that comes out. Yellow folder, it's not really important. Orange folder is the only other higher impact thing we have would be 2:30 p.m. FOMC member speaking, and then we got a couple coming into the afternoon after him, 3:30 and 5:10. Those typically aren't too bad, but you never know. They could come out and say something that really throws the market. So 2:30 p.m. would be the next thing that I'd be paying attention to. And then tomorrow we do have NFP, non-farm payrolls. That is typically a large market mover at 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Ahead of that, the market that we're in right now, we could potentially see some chop, right? We could be in for some just kind of slow-moving anticipation ahead of that event. Sometimes we can kind of pull back a little bit just in preparation of some news that's going to come out, and everybody's kind of waiting on that, so we just don't get a whole lot of movement like we saw yesterday. Yeah, I'd like to take this thing long back to VWAP if we pop back to the zone. That's going to be my trade. Very simple. I'd look for a sweep below this low would be pretty sweet, but I'd probably enter as we're getting close to it. Yeah, NQ's looking real strong. Let's take a look at it together. Oh, that's on the 5 minutes. Actually, a little indecisive. Crack to the upside. We're pulling back. ES looking similar. A little bit stronger, right? Opening up, at the highs. I'm going to stay focused on here because if we do wick down, sometimes it's a pretty fast move. So it doesn't give you a lot of time to execute. So going to stay focused on this one. Looking for an entry. Yeah, down around that 45, that big round psychological number. See what the market has for us today. And if you guys are on here and you are not in the free Discord, feel free to hop in, man. I've been putting a whole bunch of info on stuff that I have coming up. Really, really cool stuff coming up. Going to be guest speaking at a 2-day in-person event in Tampa coming up in May 1st and 2nd. Really cool. It's Austin Silver's event. Bunch of other traders that are going to that as well. Really, really cool event. Not a lot of in-person stuff that goes on in this space, so I'm really excited to be a part of that one. Should be really fun. Details in the free Discord if you're interested, man. They're sold through like more than half the tickets already, which is wild. But it's a very competitive price, my humble opinion, for 2 days in a nice conference center. A bunch of traders. They're gonna have sponsors from a bunch of different companies, right? Speakers from their companies as well. Let's see. Do we get a test of these lows? Here we go. Again, I'm going to wait till we get close to this zone, middle to the low end. If we get it, going to look for an aggressive buy back towards VWAP. That's the play. It's the first play here on Dow. Excuse me. Just getting a feel for volatility as we come down lower. Come on, let's see a push. Close. Would like it from the middle to the low end because I think sweeping that is definitely a possibility. Sweeping that low. Yeah, just not there yet. Just not there. Need a little bit lower down here to get the right risk structure. A little bit further. One more push. I'm in. Not a big trade. Just a quick one back towards VWAP. Ooh, NQ taking off. Yeah, that might be it. That might be it. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Yeah, just not the right risk structure. Like, we got close. We just tapped the top of this. But at best, that means I'm targeting like 56 points, 57 points. My stop loss is going to be, you know, for a 1-to-1 would be somewhere down here, just below these lows. I think it's likely that we come down, and we can come down pretty aggressively through this low, see some volatility, and then snap back up. But maybe let's see if it gives us a chance. If it turns and comes back to VWAP from this spot, trade's done. That's the trade idea playing out. And we just don't pull deep enough down to touch these lows. Let's see. We're gonna get a 5-minute candle close coming up here. Could see the next one open up somewhat aggressively. I'm watching the other indices kind of push to the upside right now. Not that I pay too much attention as far as correlation goes. The setup's the setup on the instrument that I'm trading. But actually, NQ popping, ES kind of sitting at VWAP, Dow selling off. So let's see what we get here. Getting in right here, guys. Getting in right here. Gonna look for a test of this level, potentially sweep down below the lows, and a crack right back up towards VWAP. Let's see if I'm gonna target a move of about 65 points. Want to make sure I at least maintain a 1-to-1. Don't really want to. I don't have to go crazy on these. They're nice high probability moves. Again, there's chance. Obviously, we're entering. You know, I'm entering very counter to the movement right here. Right. I'm entering a buy as we're selling off, not waiting for any type of of slowing down of price action. Really just entering right at a level that I have marked off based on structure. And the risk is, this thing just rips through. So in back testing, forward testing, trading this, that happens. We just continue to dump, we sell off, and sell through support is the play. So that risk is inherent with these types of entries. But sorry, I'm just kind of structuring risk, and yeah, I really like to run these like this type of volatility, something like 40, 50 points below the low is pretty sweet. You kind of let it come and do whatever it's going to do, and then potentially crack back up. But I don't have too much room with this target just being right up here to run this really, really wide. So let's see. Got a decent initial reaction so far. We didn't just rip through the bottom of this thing. But target is up towards VWAP. We do have temporary volume point of control, kind of like a little bit lower. We got these lows right here, so don't want to be too greedy with it as far as like where I would look for it to move. So we'll see. See what we get. Again, this is a very, very simple setup. It's something that I take that I can take very calmly and just know that, hey, not going to work every time. We're going to get stops ran. On some of these, we're just going to turn and sell off. But on enough of them, we're going to bounce to the upside. It's going to make it worth the while. Yeah, low risk on it as well, right? $110 across a few accounts. Nothing crazy. They're somewhat aggressive plays, so I don't like to go too wild with them. We get knifed through. Going to be looking for another setup. Maybe waiting on NQ. See what we kind of start to get from the monster in the room. Getting a sweep test of that low. Again, I like to give them some room to come down below. I just don't have too much opportunity to do it on this one based on where VWAP is and where this zone is. So I can't go too much lower. If we got to get stopped out at that level around the 942s, that's going to be it. The theory is that we sweep that low and then bounce. We get some buyers that step in, maybe pick up liquidity right down here, crack back up towards that middle ground before potentially taking off to the downside or continuing further up, doing whatever we're going to do. Why does this chart get so twitchy? Good morning, good morning. What is going on, guys? Let's see if we can get the bounce play out of Dow. Let's see what she's got for us today. We'd like to see it happen soon. These are also ones that, I do look to actively manage. I want to see it happen pretty quickly. You want to see buyers step in, take that thing higher right off of this level. But if we don't, got a chance to clip the trade, preserve some capital. I don't like to be too quick with it. Take myself out of something before it has a chance to actually just breathe and do its thing. Let's see. We got ES sweep in session lows, right? That looks like the 930 low. Yeah, that was put in around 940, 935. Getting a little bit through VWAP. NQ retesting VWAP somewhat aggressively. Let's see. Do we break through to the downside? There's potential. There's potential for that. Higher time frame view on NQ. I got a separate chart open, so I don't overlay the chart that I have that I'm trading off of. Really bullish move after jerking around yesterday. Really nice bullish move yesterday, really erasing the entire move from the Monday sell-off. Push into the upside, really across U.S. indices, man. They look very strong. But again, do we just kind of chop around ahead of NFP tomorrow? Do we start to see a little bit of selling come into the market, some weakness ahead of waiting for a major data release, news event to come out? It's not uncommon. Doesn't always happen. It's not something that I say, oh, well, I'm not going to trade the day before NFP, and then I'm not going to trade NFP, and then I'm not going to trade after NFP. You know, you could talk yourself out of trading like, you know, almost every other day of the year. But that is worth noting, you know, ahead of major news events, larger impact financial news events, we often do see choppiness in the markets, kind of indecision in anticipation of that data release, of that news event to come out. One of the dudes in Discord said, "Stopped out. I'm the liquidity. I'm liquidity." Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see, not bouncing yet. Continuing back down to test this low. Again, had we swept below this low, give you some ideas on my trade management here. Had we swept below this low, reacted, and maybe made it back towards the 50% mark of, you know, my take profit, halfway to take profit, I'd look to go break even, right? Just like popping above by a little bit, it's not enough for me to go stop loss to break even. I'm really at that point just giving the trade like not room to breathe. At that point, I really wouldn't even want to ride as far of a stop loss as I have here. It would just be a different type of trade. It'd be very, very tight. I'm looking for an immediate pop back up, and maybe that, you know, $30 profit is $100 profit because I'm in twice as heavy. For this, I got to give it a little bit of room. Would have liked to see that continue to take off right there. But this is going to be dicey down around these lows. We're either going to see the reaction to the upside, or we're going to get knifed through here. And so far, it's looking pretty weak. Let's take a look at what the rest of these bad boys are doing. Yeah, ES testing lows, NQ back at VWAP. We'll see. See what this has for us today. Dow looking the weakest out of all these, testing these lows. It's the only one that's actually red on the day so far by 0.03%. I'm looking at TradingView. But we are long Dow. I am long Dow, I should say. 44,997. Stop at 44,942. Take profit at 45,061. Gonna let this bad boy play. I'll be right back, y'all. Right back. Back in action with you guys. Let's see how my chair did. Trading live. Chair. That doesn't look great, chair. I was talking about this last time, man. I might have to get a new trading chair. It's not performing. It's not performing the way that I need. Yeah, down below this low, really not getting the initial reaction that I'd like to see. Again, going to leave this trade on. See if we get a bounce down below this low, taking everybody out. Maybe that was looking to get long over here before bouncing back up to VWAP, to around VWAP. We do have VWAP trending a little bit lower, so if we pop back up, I'm going to see what happens here. Definitely potential to get knifed through. I like my stop where it is. Maybe we have to come way, way lower before bouncing up, but if we do start to continue down, this trade idea is invalidated. We are not finding any buyers around this area, below this low, at this level of support potential, at around this overnight low, and cracking back up to VWAP. So we're just not going to get paid on that one, if that's the case, which is okay. Fairly low risk, right? Living to fight another day. Can look for multiple more trades. Wait to see if we get something that is a longer hold play coming off of NQ. Taking a look at the other markets with you guys. Let me not do it on my second screen. Take a look at that. Wow, NASDAQ looking strong, man. I got a raw chart here. I'll mark this one up from the start with you guys afterwards. But yeah, NASDAQ looking strong, man. Very strong. Not wanting to continue lower at all. Wick lower at the open, down below lows, popped right back up to VWAP. Tested highs, came all the way back down below that candle, and then pushing the highs. This looks very strong. Very, very strong. Now, do we get a reaction up here at a NASDAQ where we start to sell back off? Are we going to see some of what we saw yesterday, just kind of choppiness and then maybe a directional move? This is not really what we saw yesterday as far as looking like we were going to head lower first. But nice long wicks to the downside when you zoom out on it. This looks strong, man. This looks very strong at a NASDAQ. Take a quick look at ES. We'll go around the markets. Try not to take too much time, but I could see the P&L running from the trade. And again, not really going to look to manage it unless we start to come up towards that take profit. ES not looking as strong, right? If we zoom out a little bit, very similar structure on the 15-minute, right? Nice clean trend to the upside. Tech stocks must be popping. Not too much. Tesla down. Everything else is kind of just slight green. But yeah, ES looking fairly strong as well, man. Testing VWAP a couple times, going back up through. Somewhat choppy, right? Not a big directional move out of any of these just yet. That looks pretty strong. Ooh, NASDAQ. NASDAQ going to break out to the upside. Let's come back to my trade. Dow looking the weakest out of all these. But finding some buyers down here. Let's see. We'd really like to see this thing continue. Come back up towards VWAP. Again, that's the very, very simple play that I'm looking for on Dow these days. Off the morning. Can happen, towards the middle of the day if we kind of just chop around first. Even pre-market, took this buy for a small win off of this area consolidation back up towards VWAP. This is really the same play, seeing if I can run that one twice. But Dow is not following suit with these guys. Interested to see if we find a lot of sellers across these at some point. We start to turn down how influenced Dow is by them. But like I've talked about in some of the last lives, some of the other videos I put out, I try not to take too much weight and watch too many other markets at the same time that I'm trading. Like for example, I'm trading NASDAQ. I try not to watch ES and Dow too much. I find myself, I can make 37 cases if I start doing that for why I should be doing something, and I'm essentially trading NASDAQ on an ES chart, or I'm trading ES on a NASDAQ chart. It's just, for me, it's not so helpful. I think other traders do a great job. They look at the correlation. They find, one leads the other more often than not, or one lags behind the other. Same thing. And they can kind of use that correlation to their advantage. Same thing if you're trading like NASDAQ, maybe you're watching a lot of the Mag 7. I have that stuff on my watch list. But again, I try to just structure my trades off the chart in front of me, right? Like that's how I'm going to back test. That's how I'm going to forward test. Am I going to know, what somebody said on CNBC when I'm back testing and use that to my advantage somehow? If I am, great. You can use that when you're trading. If you're not, and you're not going to watch, 4 markets while you're back testing and use that correlation, or watch 4 markets, every day while you're live trading, that's written into your trading plan, kind of how you're going to utilize that. It questions why you're doing it when you're going to trade. So begs the question why you're going to do that. But yeah, NASDAQ breaking highs, overnight highs right now. Really strong move. ES chopping above VWAP. Dow hanging out down here at the lows. We'll see if we can get buyers to step in. Taking a look at Bookmap. Yeah, that looks like some strength to the upside, potential for that larger move. I'd be a little bit surprised. Again, most of the time, what we see before an NFP Friday is just kind of choppiness. Back and forth movement, range-bound markets, right before a big news event. But that doesn't mean we can't have a big, beautiful move, big trend day set up, something massive out of the markets before that, right? Market can do whatever it wants to do. Andre Stewart, what's going on? I'm also long America. Long America, man. Long America, right? That's the play. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, my stats, as usual, and I think as most guys do, are showing that my short plays are just not paying. They're not working nearly as good as when I hit the buy button. If and when I hit the buy button, as long as I'm able to hold on and run a wide enough stop loss, seems to work out, right? That would be pretty obvious based on structure, right? Like what would have played nicer with you most of the time? If you're really zoomed in like this, it obviously depends on what you're looking at. But what's going to be playing most of the time nice with you, if these are the sessions you're looking at? Probably buys, right? Here's your New York session. Here's your New York session. Here's your New York session. Let's see if we get the sell-off today, for this one. But, yeah, sometimes I do have to ask myself, should I block that sell button off my chart, and just start looking long on these? Yeah, buying is a lot easier than selling with anything. Yeah, again, with U.S. indices, right? We deal with these really strong, in the long term, in the really zoomed out picture, trends to the upside, right? There's definitely recessions, there's corrections, there's definitely big downturns in the U.S. markets, but they're not as back and forth and choppy from a higher time frame perspective as some of other markets are. Maybe metals or different commodities or forex pairs. If you zoom out on ES or NASDAQ or Dow over time, what does that chart look like? Usually it's looking like a nice clean trend to the upside. Again, low time frames, you're scalping, we're trading intraday. You want to be able to be flexible, go short as quick as you go long. But it does beg the question, are you trading with the trend, right? If we're trending up on the monthly, weekly, daily, you drop down. The last few days have been big pushes to the upside. Is hitting the short button going to be a good idea? So I think, people end up with biases. Guys end up with, being bulls or bears and just really strong one way or the other. For some reason, I think it might just be the way that price action forms. I tend to find it easier to hit the sell button and hold shorts. That's not a really good bias to have for U.S. indices. Not a really, really good way to be set up if you're going to be trading, stuff that typically trends to the upside. So I try to be cautious of that. Definitely try to be cautious of that. Still cracking lows, not finding support here. That was a nice potential to start this move. Looking at the 5-minute, I don't love the way this is forming down here, but again, I'm going to leave the trade on, right? I'm noticing most of my results, especially as of recent. I'm going to do better just leaving the trade to run to stop loss. In profit, take profit when it makes sense, make adjustments as you see fit. But the stuff that I start to duck out of, quickly, in the first maybe few candles, a lot of it turns around. And the times that it turns around and ends up being a winner is outweighing the times that I cut it short, maybe like right here, right now, for $30 instead of 110, in the chance that it turns around and makes it back to, a nice profit. Sure, as we're, ripping lower, or we get a lot of trending movement, or we get up close to maybe this area, and then we start to come all the way back down, potentially stop loss to break even, or clip in the trade, as we come back down through. Something along those lines I think can make sense. But again, your data is going to show you that, Your data is going to say, hey, every time you're in drawdown, to 50% or 75%, that trade almost always continues to the stop loss. Just go ahead and cut it. Your trading might look like mine, where you say, hey, there's a lot of trades as we start to get, look like we're going to get stopped out on this one. There's a lot of trades where the trade's moving against you. You cut it short, and then the thing rips in the direction of your trade. You're not giving your trade enough room to breathe, and you're getting shaken out of trades. You don't want to put that risk on. So it just depends. Data shows that. Journaling shows that. But looks like I'm going to continue this somewhat of a difficult red week, man, and get another stop out live with you guys here. Not super happy about it, but part of the game. Going to put my trades on, let the odds play out, and that's it. Still in by the skin of my teeth, but that looks like we're not finding buyers here. Continuing lower. Looks like the stop out's coming, and then I don't know. I don't think that we pull all the way back down here and then crack to the upside. Certainly possible, but I would look at this as maybe a retest of this level and then a continuation lower. For this trade to make any sense, we need to come back above these highs and really move quickly towards this area. But so far, looking very weak. Not finding buyers. We did for a little bit, start to consolidate, but not finding buyers quickly and continuing lower. But we're going to leave the trade on and see. Got to blow on it. Yeah, chat. Everybody blow on their screen. Chant Dow. Long America. Yeah. Got to blow on it to go up. That's funny. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we get. Again, bouncing back and forth between NASDAQ and Dow because I'm looking at NASDAQ for that larger movement, after the open, larger movement. And this thing looks very strong, very strong. Cracked above the highs, pulled back a little bit. We're kind of testing here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pullback and then continuation. But this thing may just go. This is looking strong, right? This was some choppiness off the open, back down to VWAP, and then a nice big push off. From the 5-minute, we did get that nice wick down lower below this level and then push up. Got close to the highs, came all the way back down. A couple bars trading below power bar lows, and then the push to the upside. This is looking strong. I wouldn't be buying the breakout, but last couple days, this type of move has really continued. We've just seen some big strength out of NASDAQ. So interested to see if we get it today, man. I would also just really not be surprised if we got choppy days on these. Again, we are ahead of NFP, non-farm payroll, tomorrow on Friday. That is a large news event. It's not surprising to get choppy days ahead of that. But yeah, if we got something similar to yesterday, even like we pull back down and then get a continuation on this, I'd be looking long NASDAQ, but I'm going to wait on it. There is the stop out. Watching P&L up here. There's the stop out on Dow. 112.96 to the downside, unfortunately. Continuing my pretty uneventful red week. That's what I got going on so far. But live with you guys every day. You'll watch it play out. Weakness, a lot of weakness out of Dow, while the other ones are pulling back. Let's see. I'm much less inclined to say we wick down here and then pull back up. Can certainly still happen, but that's not the trade setup. That's not the trade setup. If I was going to mark out some additional zones, that's a pretty serious area. Obviously, way down here, but this is the next area that I'd be looking. Yeah, tested multiple times as support and resistance, big impulsive moves off of it. Lines up with the visible range volume profile. Way down here for some support found, potentially. That would be a hell of a move out of Dow, though, off the open. Let's see what we get. But let's go ahead and mark up NASDAQ. Fresh chart, going to go ahead and do some markup with you guys. Prior day high and low. Yeah, that overnight low looks like a pretty good level to have marked off as well. Let's go to the 15, just make it a little bit cleaner. Get some higher time frame zones on this bad boy. Yeah, we start to crack to the upside. We are testing a level right here, right? These lows before we start to crack back off, but that's kind of the same as our overnight level. Wouldn't really want to clog the chart up. I'd go right off this high. Simple level of structure. This is really marked by our overnight low level. We know right down around this level, it's somewhat of an important area to pay attention to. Down below, before prior day low, I'd be looking at this area right here where volume point of control is showing right now. Yeah, long. I'd still be looking long on this. That's my game plan. Not to carry too heavy of a bias, but this isn't looking short. Obviously, right off this area, testing these highs. If you were going to be counter to the move and say, you know what, I think we're coming through VWAP. Now's your chance. Stop loss above here. Anticipating a correction or at least choppiness to come back down to this level. I'm not looking long on it yet from this area, but I definitely don't think it's a bad play. But I'll be giving this a little bit more time. We're going to come up on 10:30 a.m. right now and get our initial balance high and low. That'll be the last level that I throw on this chart. The IB high and low. Boom. Let's see what these markets have for us, man. Throw this back to 1 just so I don't get caught off guard. Yeah, Dow looking very weak. Not finding any buyers. We consolidated there for a little bit, but did not get the move back to VWAP that I like. NASDAQ looking the strongest out of all these guys. Again, just taking a look at ES as well. You get like real high time frame with this. Zoom way out. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad. Push back up and a test towards the 22,000 level. Maybe. I don't know that we get it today. Again, I don't want to form that bias either to say, well, just because it's NFP tomorrow that we're not going to do anything. It's going to be choppy and I'm not going to look for, any type of a directional move. But I do, I'm aware of that. With the 15 on NASDAQ. Yeah, could see a buy. Could see a buy somewhere low in this area, wide stop loss. There's definitely potential for us to pull much further back. And maybe retest this area. There's certainly just potential for this to be a sell-off type of day, but I think that we see a drop a little bit here, and then a potential continuation of the upside. But I'm going to look long. I'm going to look to try to find a way in long, and have a nice wide stop loss to potentially capitalize on a move to the upside. If it does end up being a choppy day, back and forth, maybe I get a good solid entry. And I'm out for break even or small loss, or worst case, another stop. But that's my thought process. For me, I do see this, reaction after cracking overnight high, really not wanting to come above. For me so far, higher time frame, medium time frame, lower time frame, nothing's really calling for a sell to say, hey, this thing's going to be a big down day today. This looks bullish all the way. Stopped America. Why? Yeah, why America? No, part of it, man. Part of the game. Again, even with a modest win rate and a modest risk to reward, you're going to go through some negative variance. So I got quite a bit of that going on this week. Not big losses, but just small stops, man. Small red. Less than $100, $100, $200. I think the beginning of this week, I still had one account that I was trading individually, where I was trading them more aggressively around the $400, $500 risk per trade, and I took one L there. But yeah, man, these things happen. This is part of trading. Everybody wants to be able to hop on every day and green, right? And you can do that to a degree if you run a really high win rate, really abysmal risk to reward. You have a much higher chance of just taking a lot of wins, having nice win streaks. But then, a lot of times what happens is you blow up, right? That when those losses do come, one or two of them, that's enough to kill the account. But for most guys, you're going to see that kind of nice ebb and flow based on market conditions, a million different things. And the key for me is to not get crazy, right? Like yesterday, frustrating day. Started small green, ended small red, but I missed a really nice opportunity. If you go back and watch the live stream, right here, literally right, and I made jokes about it. And again, this is not me pointing out like, oh, I could have, would have, should have done something. This is me showing you something that like, didn't go well for me. So don't interpret this as like, oh, Zach's saying that he was going to do something and then he didn't do it. No, quite the opposite. I was eyeballing this. And I just didn't have the conviction. Like I said on the stream, didn't have the, didn't like the price action, didn't like the market structure, did not foresee that happening. This is not exactly what I wanted to take that trade, and the thing just absolutely ripped. So when you take a small loss, you maybe miss opportunities. When you see stuff like that happen, the key is not to figure out how you could have taken that win or how, every day you're going to end up green. It's to not lose control, not start revenge trading, not jump back in on the move way up here and then get stopped out and then jump in again here and then get stopped out again and turn into this big, terrible red day. I really do believe that's what separates guys that are able to maintain a level of consistency from everybody else, that ends up losing money. It's not that they don't have an amazing system or some special tool or they're so much smarter or they've somehow figured out a way to never take losses. No, it's that they take their losses calmly, cool, collective, maintain confidence, and keep doing what's working, and not blow up, mismanage risk, go crazy, or throw everything out the window and like completely end up doing something differently, start trading an opposite way. All of those things I think are the big risk factors. But it sucks. Taking losses sucks. It's not super fun, but it sucks less when you recognize, how the market moves, right? The randomness in the short term and the consistency and the predictability in the long term. But it's not fun. It's not fun to hop on here and take L's, man. I definitely don't enjoy it. But part of live trading, man. I'm going to show you guys, the red, the repeated red when it happens. That's what I've had going on. And maybe in your own trading, you see that and you say, I'm not going to go ahead and do something crazy because I'm just watching, $10,000 green days. And I think that that's normal. And if I don't have a $10,000 green day every day, I'm just going to keep trading until I do. And those are going to be days where I blow the account up. Maybe you just stay calm, cool, preserve capital, save your chips to play the next hand, using that analogy. And you're able to get through, losses, normal losses that are part of trading. But not fun nonetheless. So back down to VWAP. Yeah, I'm really interested to see if we blast off from this level, right? We swept down below this 15-minute candle. We're watching, support be found again around this middle ground. The long play from here would be a stop loss, below low of day. All the way down below here, anticipating that this candle just does not flip and we continue to move to the upside. Yeah, it's feeling like a repeat of yesterday. But yeah, appreciate you guys hopping on, man. We got a bunch of people on. Feel free, hit like. If you want to chat next time, you can subscribe now. Subscriber mode's on. Try to limit the trolls. Yeah. How many losses you got in a row? Do you beat my record? Yeah, no, I'm not at 10 yet. And technically I got small wins in there. But ending red majority days. So I'm definitely on a small streak. 10 losing streak I had almost made me go bald. Yeah. Yeah, man, I feel it. It's tough. It's tough, right? And after 10, you're like, do I even know what I'm doing here? Let me add something in. Let me change something. But if you don't do that and you just keep losses controlled, you're good. Small winners in the mix. Mine were all losers. Yeah. No, dude, I feel it. I'm definitely on the losing streak live for sure. So I'd have to count that up, but yeah. 10K daily is normal and usual. Yeah, yeah. Listen, for some, right? It just depends on your risk. You know, are you putting 550K account, or, 20 copy traded prop accounts or 40 copy traded prop accounts on the line, every day? Then yeah, maybe that risk is makes sense. Not consistently, in my opinion. I'm watching this push right back up, man. Yeah, this looks strong. Can we reverse here a second time or a third time and come all the way back down? Yes, but this looks like buyers do not want to give up VWAP and we want to continue higher. So I'll read some more from the chat in a minute. Break to the upside, like taking this as a breakout trade with a stop loss somewhere down below here, could absolutely be a play. This feels like a lot of strength, and a wick down below here first from one of these candles would have been beautiful, and then a continuation of the upside. Not to be nitpicking what I would love to see, but I'm gonna hang out on this. I'm not gonna take it too early today. I'm gonna watch for IB high and low. Ooh, I'm gonna watch for IB high and low. Ooh, uh-oh. Who said something about a tariff? What news do we got dropping? That looks volatile to the downside. Ooh. Someone tweeted something. Now, if you play these types of moves really quick, like right now, you go, oh, wait a minute, harsh rejection, sell coming in. Immediately take the sell, immediately take the sell. Like, let's see how that would play. Like immediately jump in. Whoa, that's not what I want. There's an idea there, trading like, Trump markets, and just say, that is going to be something. That's something. Somebody said something. One of the countries, mentioned a tariff being paused, or, something happening with a trade war, and we're going to sell off here. I don't play that game, but that's definitely some volatility that came in. There's nothing scheduled right now as far as I'm aware, but I'm sure we're going to see it on news in about a couple minutes. Interesting. But yeah, what I was going to say right before that is I'm not going to jump right back in this. Who said what? Yeah, I'm not going to jump right back in this. I'm going to wait for something to develop a little bit further into the morning. And again, if I had been doing that a little bit better, just noticing my results. If I'm going for the larger movement, getting involved right off the open, typically I'm not going to miss the move. There's certainly days like this where, yes, buying on that 930 candle is going to be your play. But for, the most part, a lot of times we get stuff like this, and then we really start to develop the trend, after the first few minutes to hours of the open. But this is going to be interesting. Let's watch what happens here. Yeah, don't know what that was. No, nothing scheduled that I could see. Yeah, part of it took my one trade a day on NQ and lost right at the pump up, but stuck to my rules. Yeah, move on with our trading plan. Absolutely, Ryan. That's the way to do it. Keys to make sure you don't turn trading into gambling. Many of us get caught up and turn to gambling after some losses. Absolutely. I think it's really prevalent in futures. Really prevalent. Where we're on low time frames, there's a lot of opportunity, and we just don't want to stop, right? We just don't want to accept this, $112 red day. And, we struggle to recognize that we could take 20 of these back to back before, you know, an account like the, you know, the 50K XFA that I'm in is actually dead. And instead of just accepting that and saying, okay, there's nothing else for me, if there was, I'd take it, we go, I don't want to take that. So I'm going to put now double the risk on. I'm going to risk another $200 or $250 to try to get back to break even. And then you take a loss on that, and now you're down $300, $400. And you go, oh man, well, if I could just get back to $112 where I was, like that would be okay. And, you know, I won't wreck it. And then next thing you know, the account's gone. And, you know, not only did you just revenge trade and gamble, you put way too much risk on. If you were going to do that, you should have been putting it on for the good trades. And it just ends up being this gambling matrix. You know, you get stuck in that terrible cycle. That's one of the many, you know, Achilles heels. Not everybody suffers from that. There's plenty of different, you know, forms of tilt and emotional trading and just mismanagement that happens. But that's a really common one. You know, you see it in a lot of guys trading. They do really well. They have these nice, beautiful cycles, you know, nice clean equity curves, but all of a sudden it's the same thing. Nice rise up, steep drop off. And it's in a lot of the books. It's the boom and bust cycle. They boom, do really well, and then we get on a high, we start to forget the rules, we say, oh, everything is solid, I'm just going to, you know, accelerate this, and then, you know, one bad day erases, you know, a month or months of good work. So it's tough. It's hard not to do that, you know, especially after multiple days of losses. It gets a little bit tiring. So, yeah. Make sure you're trading, not gambling, right? You know, we can say they're the same thing. If you define gambling as placing a bet or a wager on an uncertain outcome, then trading's gambling, right? Everything in life is gambling. But the way that I look at it is, are we defining our risk management? Are we adhering to some approach, right? Even if it's not a strategy with hard rules, because I certainly don't have that. But are we applying some consistency day in and day out? And are we certainly structuring risk in an appropriate way? And do we really believe we have an edge in the market that if we execute over a large number of trades that we will see a positive outcome? If you're sticking to that, it's different than going to the casino where the edge is not in your favor. And you know that up front. The edge is against you, and you're relying on luck, right? You're relying on a lucky streak, some positive variance to play into that random distribution of wins and losses in your favor. But knowing that if you do what you're doing long enough, you will lose and the casino will win. You know, that's kind of the inherent difference. But, you know, I will acknowledge that, you know, I think like everything's gambling, right? Who said what? Yeah. Good Lord. Cop $300, locked it up for the day. Beautiful. Beautiful T-Rex. Very nice. 2 bad days in a row. Today, 10 trades, 9 winners, but still no confidence. Dang, that's a lot of trades, Jim Jacks. But yeah, man, you know, if you're lacking confidence, if you're struggling with it, I encourage you, you know, go back to back testing to warm up, right? I love to back test to warm up, not in the way that we're back testing for a lot of data. We're back testing to, you know, like learn a new system or form a new system, but just as kind of like, you know, if you were going to go play any sport, or before I go run a race or something, I warm up, right? I'm going to warm up. It's not to like get better at running right before the race, but just to kind of like warm yourself up, remind yourself, you know, of your system, of the trades you're looking for, what you're looking for on the chart, and kind of regain some of that confidence. I think that can help. Reviewing your journal, you know, looking at what's working and what's not working, and then sizing down, you know, reducing risk. If you're lacking confidence and, you know, you're just not feeling comfortable putting risk on, size down, you know, definitely key, man. Pulling back down on this, man. Yeah, someone said something. That was volatile. Like on the low time frame chart, that was super volatile. Crack to the downside, pull back up, crack lower. That changed this nice structure here. So I've lost a lot of confidence in this long play that I was eyeballing. I'm going to hang on this. Dow. Still selling off. No bounce out of Dow. That long did not play at all. Definitely found a little bit of buyers right here after sweeping lows, but we just didn't get the play. I'm cool with that. I've been really liking that setup, and I'm going to do my best to come back to it every morning. Ooh, S&P testing lows also. That's looking weak. It's looking weak, guys. And that to me means don't do anything. Watch this bad boy. If you're scalping real low time frames, maybe you're getting some volatility in here and you're able to capitalize on these movements in between. That was that was violent back down to the downside. You know, let's see again if that like news play might work out where you just see the initial reaction of some obvious like massive volatility changing direction or continuing, and you look to jump right in with that. So far, it'd be paying you. Down here, you'd be a little bit dicey if you caught the bottom of that. But we cracked right back down through VWAP. Could have got a little entry right in here. But I don't know about that as a strategy. Nothing breaking? Interesting. Not the Mag 7 from what I could see either. What am I looking for my next trade? I really don't have a setup right here. I was looking long, right? Up until we saw this, crack back down. Still potentially looking long. That was a lot of volatility that came into on that candle. That could be a change in direction for the day. I don't think so far. If that continued, aggressively lower, I would definitely be ruling out longs. I could still see a long play. Why? How do we look from higher time frames, right? This, to me, is the most recent trend that I'm paying attention to. That looks strong, right? That looks really strong. And it turned out to be a really mirror week to what we saw last week. Almost, I was saying it on Monday. This feels like the same thing as last week. Gnarly sell-off at the open, gapping down on political or information from other countries. Same thing, gapping down, and then a recovery, just day-over-day recovery. Bullish push to the upside. So I'm looking for that to continue today. Higher time frame view, right? Higher time frame narrative. I am cautious about NFP tomorrow, large news event. This is definitely giving an opportunity for a long setup more aggressively down here with a stop loss, way down below this level, targeting a continuation to the upside. But I just don't have a real clean setup here. That's multiple consecutive bars pulling back off. This kind of feels like the middle of the zone. Stop loss below here. We could be in for this kind of choppy back and forth day. So I'm going to stay a little bit more patient on this. I'm looking long in general. How I find that is going to be based on price action and market structure. Again, trying not to take into consideration this long that I eyeballed from right here and missed yesterday, right? Deep down, I try to remember, how I'm feeling about trading, how I'm thinking about trading. I'm antsy today, right? I'm antsy on NQ. I'm having hindsight bias, anticipating recency bias, anticipating maybe a large move, and I don't want to miss it, right? Okay, wow, we got candles pulling back down. I try to be cautious of that. Cautious of that kind of like detrimental thought process that can take you out of trading the way that you've been trading and into trying to do what you saw yesterday. But long way to say I'm looking long. Don't have an initial setup right here. I don't have a level that I want to trade directly off of. I want to watch what forms here on the 5-minute, 15-minute. Make a decision if this price action is setting up in a way that I can react to that gives me a good way to structure risk for a move to the upside. Not attempting to predict what's going to happen next, but react to it. And so far, that's kind of choppy. Almost broke IB low, didn't. Looked like we were going to head right back up from here, but we didn't. And we're kind of back down right towards VWAP. Below VWAP, obviously. So hanging out. 5 years sucks. Sucks to start over again. Did my taxes withdrew? Holy hell, that's a lot, man. 2 months of gambling changed everything. Vicious cycle. We have to control. I now have to start over. Yeah, I feel you. It does suck to start over. And again, you can unravel a lot in a short time frame. So just keep it controlled, right? There's always time to scale. There's always room to scale. Keep it controlled, especially if you are taking, a number of losses. Most good traders are not going to add to losers and get bigger on their losing trades and days and weeks and months. They're going to add to winners and look to size up and scale up appropriately in profit. So if you're sticking to that, it would make sense to not start hesitating or becoming way too cautious, but control risk. Refocus on risk management, during losing streaks or drawdown or losses. That's my thought process. Don't want to start doubling down and accelerate the path to the blown account. That usually doesn't go well. Works sometimes, and when it does, it really, really will reinforce a bad habit. But you're relying on luck. You're relying on that next trade to be the winner, and the market doesn't work like that. We should know that. Random distribution between wins and losses, right? Even if you have a positive win rate, nice positive win rate, you're never going to know with 100% certainty if that next trade is going to be a winner or a loser. And that's why we structure risk. It's why we have risk management in the first place. NQ, trying to figure out what it wants to do for the day. Yep, Dow sold right off, found some support down here in no man's land. Not down here, not all the way down here, not where I have my zone marked. Excuse me. But appreciate you guys hopping on, man. If you are not in the free Discord, hop in the free Discord. I'm going to plug that. Hop in the free Discord. 100% free Discord. Almost 1,500 members. Live trading every day with you here. 100% free. Showing you wins. Unfortunately, a lot of losses. And everything in between. But we'd be more than happy to have you in the free Discord. Questions answered, experienced traders sharing analysis, beginner traders asking questions, talking about the markets, what's developing in real time. I call out news every morning, let you know when we have red folder, orange folder, yellow folder news events going on. Something wild goes on. Was calling out, hey, be really cautious. I said it like 3 times coming into Sunday night open. Was expecting that volatility. So it can be helpful. It'd be helpful to have a group of traders around. Sharing the good and the bad, man. Outside of that, if you trade with prop firms, you use any paid software, check out the links below. Got discounts to all your favorite firms or some of your favorite firms. Tradeify is running 30% off straight to funded. That is the next set of accounts that I'm going to be looking at. And if you like to use any software like Bookmap, Edgeful, TradingView, TradingView's got 50% off professional plans right now. I reread that this morning. So if you're hardcore on TradingView, they got 50% off professional plans until February 9th. And I think the way that they do that is they let you, like I wait for Black Friday every year with TradingView, and then I just buy again whatever my the highest paid subscription that's non-professional is the one that I use, and it works really well. They add time onto it, so I have like. Let me look at it actually. Premium. Yeah, like 400, more than a year of TradingView, 411 days. And then when the deal comes around, I'll, buy more time. Chopping right around VWAP, man. Not ripping lower. There could be a buy setup right from this area, like, pull a little bit down, a little bit lower, maybe to like the 725s, just kind of sweep that IB low and go for the double break. But this is looking choppy, man. The more that I watch this, the less I'm really inclined to trade. If we pulled back down and ripped to the upside, I would like this long. But this is kind of just back and forth now. We had that really gnarly volatility come in. It didn't just immediately continue, but we have failed to just find buyers and crack right back up and erase it. Kind of just continue doing what we're doing. It's looking really good up until right here, 10:35. So sitting patient, looking long, looking to buy a dip, as the boys and girls say, but cautiously long, looking cautiously long. What do you guys think? Let's get the poll going. We thinking long America? Let's see. Let's go with like a close above or below. Do we think NQ is going to close above 21,900, below 21,600, all the way down here, or no idea? You guys think we're going to have a bullish day, bearish day? No idea. Maybe can also work for if you think we're going to close right here at VWAP at the 700s, 775s. Yeah, this is just choppy, man. Slow moving choppy. No idea. 100% no idea. All right. Good. So I hope you're not in any trades, guys. If you don't know and you don't have a setup, I would encourage you to consider not trading. If you're answering that with no idea across the board, I would definitely be hanging out. Take a look at NQ Bookmap. Looking at NQ Bookmap, this is my favorite order flow tool. We are looking at live orders resting in the market. You can see we do have some orders all the way up to the 900s. This is your depth of market. This is your current order book. You can see all the way up at 21,900s. We have quite a few orders, 127 on the book there. 50, if I zoomed in, that looks like maybe like 885, 875-ish. More relevant, closer to price would be like the 850s. This is the algorithmic stuff that we talk about. Whatever this liquidity provider algorithm bands that are above and below price that I really don't pay too much attention to. I'm looking for stuff like this in the book. Down below, we got some, not a whole lot, right? Like that's not a lot. We're not talking, 100 lots, 200 lots. Quite a bit when we look all the way down. Whoa, if I don't break Bookmap, all the way down to the 650s. All the way down to 650s. So not a whole lot right above and below price. I do think if we do start to push to the upside, these could be some targets. This could be something that the market wants to go and grab those sell orders. This is overlapped by the algorithmic stuff, but this does look like we've got some real close here, just right up into like the 790s. But again, I take a very dumb guy approach to order flow and Bookmap. I zoom out on it and I say, hey, where are really big orders on the book that may act like magnets / support and resistance? Kind of the way that I would look at a support and resistance, supply and demand, order block, area of interest, right? Area of interest. And if there are some significant levels, I'm going to try not to break this by zooming out and showing too much data. If there are significant levels, I want to pay attention to those. And I might want to mark them on my candlestick chart and be cautious if we start to approach them. There we go. Got some volume being traded to the upside. Looks like we are going to go trade out those 790s, and looks like there are some actual orders there because this is the algorithmic stuff. That looks like we got something resting on the book, although it is being overlapped quite a bit. But anyway, not a whole lot, right? This is me looking at Bookmap and telling you there's not a whole lot for me to pay attention to. Above price, I'd be looking at these levels. If we started to come up to it, this is way too far away to be forming any kind of trade idea for me to say, oh, we got 127 orders up at, the 900s. I'm going to look long. No, I'm going to use this just for additional information based on market structure, price action, volume, a little bit of order flow mixed in on the back end just to pay attention to it. You guys want to check out Bookmap yourself? You can. Link is in the description. Is Bookmap that finicky? Yeah, I don't know if it's just mine specifically. I don't know if it's the data that I have for NQ, but I don't want to do it to inherently show the issue. But you can see down here, and I don't load a lot of data with it, so I don't know. It could be settings, right? Again, I take a pretty simple approach to it. But if I like really zoom out, like do anything crazy with it, this whole thing will crash. I don't want to display it to you guys, but that's the truth. I've tried to check out what it is on my end, and I can't really seem to figure it out. That would be causing it to like utilize too much data or something. I know if you zoom out, it's obviously has to load a ton. It's loading like a lot more data. But for some reason, it's something that's happening, and I don't know if it's my CME Bookmap data and Rhythmic or DX feed would act differently, but it's not the end of the world. But that is Bookmap. See what the poll says from you guys. No Idea is leading the way at 60%. A couple votes for close above and no votes for close below. So you guys are undecidedly bullish. That's what we got out of that. Yeah. Again, for me, guys, this is looking choppy. I'm gonna hang out just to see if we start setting up something. But this is looking choppy. Yeah, I'll be here till at least 11:30 or so. Looking choppy. Consolidating back around VWAP, failed to get above, failed to get below, kind of indecisive. It does feel like the day before red folder, NFP. Had my second setup on Dow that didn't play. And now looking for the higher time frame, longer hold move out of NASDAQ. Directional play from the extremes looks like the best opportunity, but the more we go back and forth and sideways, the less excited I am about any direction on that. I just don't think that provides a lot of opportunity, right? But we'll hang out. We'll see. Maybe Trump tweets something, somebody tweets something, and the market just takes off, and we look to find a way in. That looked like it was about to be something. That was aggressive, right? Again, you can see it on if we go to like the 1 minute. Like that was aggressive. Quick crack down as we were pushing up, but no massive follow through. No massive follow through to the downside. Excuse me. If you guys got trading questions, feel free, ask them in the chat. What do I think about YM? I like YM. Like, what do I think about it in general, or what do I think about it right now for like up or down? I don't have a setup on YM. I trade YM right now. I don't have a setup on YM. I think we're gonna probably pull back a bit just based on what I see often out of YM. But I trade YM from the perspective that it's very mean reverting. It's very choppy. It likes to wick back and forth across VWAP. It loves to go back to areas of high volume, not just VWAP. But it seems to love to go back to big levels of structure where we've consolidated, where we've traded a lot. And I kind of trade it with that from the extreme back to the middle ground, back across price action, where much more directional in most other markets, right? I'm trying to capitalize on a move with the trend in a direction. But I really like to do that with Dow pre-market or off the open. Not much pre-market. If I see something like I saw this morning that worked out nice, great. But really off the open where we just get a lot of that volatility. And if we open up above, high volume area, middle ground, VWAP, or below, I look to trade right back towards it, so long as like a structured risk. And if we, like this morning I was waiting for, head towards a level of structure to go test, I like to take an aggressive buy or sell off that level back to the middle ground. Again, I'm doing a couple long form videos on it just because it's so fun and easy to backtest. I encourage you to do that. You can literally use nothing except for VWAP or visible range volume profile if you wanted to, and 2 levels, 2 lines, 2 boxes, rectangles, whatever you want to use. And look at the open, how many times Dow snaps itself back to VWAP, either before or after testing one of those levels near the open. It's enough time to be dangerous, so long as you can, read price action and market structure a little bit, try to understand the trend, try to understand, what we are looking like from a higher time frame, right? Like I'm much more comfortable today taking buys on that, after a retest of this low, because hey, maybe we just blast off like we did yesterday, like right here. That was a hell of a wick down below here, but yeah, that's kind of what I look at on Dow. YM owes me some green. Put me in the red deep. I feel you, man. I feel you. Yeah, like gun to my head, I'm for most of the time on Dow, I'm like counter trend. Like gun to my head, I'm long. Stop loss somewhere down here that we go back and check out VWAP. We go and hit this level. Like that's what I'd be trading. I don't like the way that it moves directionally. I think ES out of all of them, if I was gonna like cherry pick, if you were like very directional of a trader, you didn't want to deal with something that was very wicky back and forth. It can feel like watching paint dry, but ES is very smooth trending, very, very cleanly. NQ and YM, not so much, not so much, But yeah, like we'll see. This looks like a we want to come back to VWAP, and there's trades to take like that with Dow. They're just not as, they're typically higher risk to reward, but lower percent win rate, lower probability. Just basic price action and market structure type trades. In this indication, in this scenario, it would be very counter trend, right? We're trending lower, but we are looking for this to happen. We do come back up here, right? Very common to break and retest and just kind of continue these measured moves. But that would be very counter trend. This is weak. Overall, I think this is, higher time frame. It still looks, very, very bullish, but we didn't like crack down to a zone and then just start to take back off. We kind of just slowly drifted lower. So I'm not getting the nice warm fuzzy feeling to look for something like that. But right now, gun to my head to answer your question, I'd be long back towards VWAP level of structure. Stop loss somewhere down below here, allowing it to maybe test again and then continue up, but not a high enough, not a clean enough setup for me to want to take it. Not a real trade setup. That's the thing. Off of a zone like this, or if this, again, if this level of structure, like what would be a clean, trade? If all of this higher time frame zoomed out on the 5-minute 15 maybe was here, we came and tested that level, this area of high volume, and then we started to pull right back off of that after just putting some, some kind of consolidation price action in. Yeah, I would look. I'd be happy to look long on that, because I think not only could it be a lower time frame pullback, it could be the reversal right there off of a high time frame zone. So you get that added bit to say, well, now we're lining up with higher time frame structure, and I think this is not just a pullback to VWAP, it is a continuation of the upside. So that's kind of what I would wait for, and why I don't have a trade on Dow right now. Let me know if that makes sense, man. And I'm sorry that YM put. I just looked back in. Did YM skyrocket after taking you out? No. I'm looking at it right now. Didn't skyrocket after taking me out. We had some support found right after, but it just continued lower. Slowly drifted lower. Here we are consolidating, talking about what may happen, potential pullback, but not something that I would look for because we're really just kind of doing this in no man's land, and that doesn't give me a great way to structure risk. I think we can easily pull. If we were going to have a big day before bouncing to the downside, that's what I'd be looking for. But no, that will happen with those trades though. Through this was really a simple trade setup. Mainly what I was looking for when I was trading Dow as US 30. Waited for a little bit more price action on the reversal, but you'll have days where it just ticks you out and then rips. But no, not one of those days. Just didn't find the support, didn't come back up to VWAP. Dow's weak. NASDAQ, not breaking structure to the downside, still looking good for a long. I you could take that. I think that's fine. Maybe this is going to be the same thing as yesterday where I eyeball a trade and don't take it. It's not nearly as good looking as yesterday, but if your thesis is from the higher time frame, we're going to continue higher. This move is going to continue today. You're looking for an extension out of NASDAQ. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think this is, really showing us we broke highs, came down lower. We had a couple chances to move this thing lower. We're failing to move lower. And buyers just continually step back in to bring this thing up. Below low of day, below IB low, I think would be somewhat reasonable. Anticipating this to move up and break through. If we come down and break IB low, probably headed to prior day low to break that. That statistic might play out. Do you dare try again? Yeah, maybe on Dow, maybe, but not here. Just not here. This looks like it could go, but again, for the reasons that I just talked about, if we were at a level, there was some clean level down here, sure, could definitely see it. But I'd be long. I'm looking long NASDAQ for a move back up right now. Again, this is not bad. This is definitely not bad. Could see that. Just not at a level of structure. Really nothing on this side that that I saw tested that gave me confidence to start to look for a reversal off of this zone. Just not enough. But again, gun to my head, I'm long. NASDAQ, something along these lines. NASDAQ, something along these lines could be potential. But this could be a choppy day. Could be a difficult, choppy day. Hang out for a little while longer, see what sets up. See if we get a second setup. I'm tempted to look for it on NASDAQ. Just get the long in, hold into the afternoon. Wide stop loss. See if we can't run some more of these highs like we've been doing, man. Just blast into the upside. Looks tempting to get back to VWAP. Yeah. Again, man, I encourage you guys, right? Because I don't think anybody taking anybody's word for anything is good. But you have the same data as I do, right? You have TradingView. Go back through and backtest, or just play. You don't have to backtest. Just play the chart and get some screen time on Dow. Dow loves to come back to value, even if it trends. It loves to just wick really, really fast and far. Back to volume, that middle ground, that value area, volume point of control, VWAP, level of structure that's been traded multiple times. And it looks like it's what it's going to do right now. But I really like to leverage it off the open and around levels of structure that give me some clear indication rather than just solely based on price action where we might say, I don't care about anything over here. I don't care about anything over here. As soon as we start to form a reversal, I'm in. We can come down anywhere down here, and as soon as we start to consolidate and then start to break structure to the upside and continue, you know, I'm in long with that. It's just a little bit more aggressive and less, you know, less probable in my humble opinion. But that looks good. Looks good. Right, largest pullback out of this area. We wicked up, pulled back down, failed to get below here multiple more times, and now we're continuing back up above. At least a pullback in the downtrend is forming right now. Yeah, we're either going to chop on this or this is going to push to the upside. I don't know what this structure would be if we did all this and then sold off. I don't see that. I don't think that would be normal price action. Can we? Absolutely. We do whatever we want. Trump could say "F you" to somebody, and then, you know, the market sells off because we get threatened with a war or something. But this has normal price action, somewhat normal price action. This looks like either we're going to chop around and have it just be this ugly anticipation of NFP day, or we crack to the upside. Structuring risk on this, below IB low would definitely be clear level 1, you know, that this area right here. Below, you know, the overnight low would be, you know, area 2. That's really wide. Even this is really wide, you know, for most traders. But I could see that as a nice positive risk to reward, because if we do get above this IB high, I wouldn't just hold for a crack above and then a turn back in. Can happen, can be a choppy day. I'd be looking, you know, all the way back up here to just have another big extension, right? Big extension to be looking at. So I could see this long. I'm tempted on it. Have I heard of fire lines? No, I don't think I have. What are fire lines, my friend? Again, guys, I'm not in a trade. I'm just, you know, position tool up there, eyeballing something. Looks like the game Plinko, but with levels for stock market. Gotcha. Yeah, feel free to share in the Discord, man. I keep my stuff stupidly simple, as you know. Yeah, I really don't look for additional tools, but I'm always happy to just kind of like learn and be aware of what's out there. Yeah, I'm trying it. Yeah, again, I'm not. This isn't a yesterday deal where I did have a really aggressive entry and it looked it looked tempting. This just feels too choppy for me, guys. It can certainly blast off. You know, again, maybe I do see a repeat where I miss a good opportunity. Maybe a pullback and retest of VWAP would give you a little bit better of an entry if you did want to get long out of the middle of this area. But I just feel like it is now long out of the middle of this area, right? You know, if you wanted to get long really aggressively, you know, maybe somewhere down here with a wide stop loss, putting you in profit. But I don't have the clean setup on this. Long is okay, right? Like this would be okay for me. Choppy structure, but failing to move lower. But it's choppy, right? Just choppy around, you know, VWAP. This would really be creating a thesis that says we break out of this area of consolidation to the upside and continue, rather than we broke out, pulled back, and now are continuing, right? But again, the upside potential is what is what is enticing about this. That hit really well. It's not Plinko, but it's statistical probabilities. Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, I don't like this. Don't like it. Not gonna be a miss trade for me. That can rip to the upside, and I'm not gonna care. Dow, I think, is gonna find its way back to VWAP at some point, but right here, right now, pulling back down a little bit further, this could be a nice setup if you are saying, hey, this is gonna continue. Maybe you wait for a retest of this area and then some buyers to step back towards VWAP. But I'm gonna hang. I'm gonna wait to see what happens into the afternoon. 11:24 right now. This thing can blast from here, but it would be coming out of consolidation. It would be from the middle of consolidation looking higher. Looks like nice, double bottom type of deal and then continuation. But I'm not going to take this. I would have to have a stop loss down below IB low. Nothing in here makes sense to me. You go right below a 5-minute candle. Maybe that works for you. But I'd have to have one way down here for something I was going to hold for a breakout. And I'm not looking for that one. Would like something, but not looking for it. Interested to see what we get for the afternoon. If you want to pay attention to that, feel free, hop in the Discord. I'll try to call out anything I do take. Sometimes I call, sometimes I don't. Just depends on what I'm doing, if I'm in meetings or something like that. But looking for a way in long on these. Nothing tells me short. Nothing tells me we're just going to break this to the downside and run short. But we're in the middle of the zone, not trading from extreme, not a beautiful way to structure risk. So I'm gonna hang out. Cool, man. I'll take a look in Discord. Guys, feel free, hit like, hit subscribe if you're still on here. If you want to chat for next time, I'm here live every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys being on here. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. I'm just an idiot on YouTube yapping about trading. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Talk to you guys tomorrow. See if we can't get a nice green day in here one of these days. Talk to you soon.